Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we're going to be having another look at the Extilior list that we played a couple of days ago and trying to find a game where we don't just run against a brick wall and forget how to play the game and just fall apart in a little bit of a catastrophe that was. As what I'd go as far as saying it was a bit of a catastrophe. So I'm going to try and play the list again. I've actually had a couple of games since then. So I played against Jester in the queue and Jester was trying out a new list that was recommended to him, and it wasn't one that he was particularly happy with, but we ended up winning both games and actually figured out a different style of play for this list to something that I think lines up a bit more with how I prefer to do things. So the only thing I'm looking at is whether or not there's space to move into a Stitchy McPatchy somewhere. And as it stands at the moment, it's maybe Torian, but I think Torian's just super useful sometimes, so as it stands for now, I think I'm going to leave it. I could argue Crankbait, but I'm going to just leave it as this for the moment. So, talking about the list itself, I'll do that in the play screen here. So what we're going to be looking at doing is the game plan here is basically we've got Furia, but it's not actually as a combo piece. It's to have the option of a combo, but in general what we're going to be looking to do is just use Furia as a one-time sort of, take out one unit or stack up deal with big armoured units, or just in general find useful ways to use her presence on the board and, not just try and rely on that one-trick pony style. Now, we've got my new favourite early game deployment, which is both Detonia and Aria. They are now my favourite first turn plays every single time. I'm going to struggle to find things that I want to do other than that unless I'm playing a big thing, so really good early plays there. I do also like Axl Pyro as another option, and with that we can follow up with something a little bit bigger, say maybe a Turncoat or a Crankbait if we need to, but it does take away our sort of option of playing a little bit slower later on to save up for Furia. So for now, what I want to do is just jump into some games with it. We've got Furia for our late game here. We've also got Fatetwister Tantun for the combo, Torian for a bit of defense, Turncoat because Turncoat's incredibly powerful, and then Tona Mystic Manteo for cinder production, and Scattervine for just being annoying. But yeah, I'm going to jump into a game with this and hopefully have a little bit of fun with it. If you enjoy this content, please do hit that subscribe button. Head over to the Patreon in the link down below. It is the best way to support the channel. And I can't tell you how much, when I got the notifications that both Pax and Draffy Mara had signed up to the Patreon, it was so exciting to me. So huge thank you to both of them. It really does mean a lot. And anyone else that can do, I hope you realise how much it really does mean to me. So thank you for that. But for now, I'll see you in game. Okay, we found a game, and it's against someone we know, of course. We've got Brigham here, or B. Michaelis, or Michaelis. So this is Brigham on their main account, and hopefully we can have some fun versus, I love the global Zax. I've seen this before, but I love it. I think it looks great. So we're going to hopefully run into this and see how well we can do with our Furia list. Now, this one is really hard to defend your Furia. So this is absolutely one where we want to just use it as much as possible for varying things. That positioning is interesting. This might actually be the turn where we want to play a Furia out safely and just shield her up. I'm looking at this. I was thinking there's not really many ways of protecting Furia, but there's also not many ways of protecting your opponent, protecting themselves either. So obviously they can move and try and get a good angle here. This is the awkward part about Zax now, is having this. They could actually get a really good angle on us really early on. Okay, at least they can't get one on Furia very easily. That's what I'd try, the 40%. Okay, making that miss is great. And it depends on what they play here, because if they play something that we can easily just trade for, we'll go ahead and do so. Okay, Crankbait, and that's probably their only play in that case. So let's just move ourselves back over here a little. Honestly, what have we got to follow up? We've got Torian, I think is probably a good call here. Or we could actually just play Aria over here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over here. This time I'll Shield of Hope ourselves. And I'm actually just going to play Aria over here and try and play defensive. So that if we can get hold of these control points, we've got more pressure early on, we can absolutely just start trying to take the race to them, because they're now incentivized to deal with Furia as soon as possible. Furia can one-shot nearly anything they play. So yeah, they can pull it out here, that's fine. But again, this is only 2 damage, and they're going to potentially be taking a ton in return. Maybe we should have actually shielded Furia instead. So for instance here, we can just poke Beatrice and she dies. That's really, really good for us, and we're going to be in range to spin. We're going to have 4 Cinder, so we can also deploy safely as well. Yep, that doesn't come off. I think this is a great spot. We're now actually even closer. Okay, so this is the correct play for in terms of movement. That's fine. But honestly, if we can get in range to Shield of Hope here first, we can.
Defense subroutine D1.
So we can go 95, or we can just move in and make it the clean 100.
They should run.
And I think this is the right thing to do.
Is the better part of valor.
Now, what do we want to do here? We've got 3... Okay. So maybe they realise that just freely one-shotting one of their crew is probably not the best situation for them. So that's one of the things I do like about Fury, is just the ability to take out a crew with no real cost associated to it. And I'm absolutely going to try and queue up again. That was too quick to call for one game. Let's go for one more and see if we can find another one. And hopefully we'll come against Brigham again, and we can have a game that plays out slightly differently. But for me, the way that worked out was just because we ended up with more board control advantage. We're probably going to play a Torian after that, or some more pressure, and we were scoring more points as well. So we were ahead in all 3 metrics. We were ahead in pressure, we were ahead in points, and we were ahead on the board in terms of sort of units as well. So really, really think we had a great game going ahead there. But hopefully I can find one more, and I'll see you there. Okay, we have found ourselves a game. We are against Dino Fuzz. So this is not a player that I'm familiar with. They're level 25, so I imagine slightly newer to the game, but enough to have a good bit of experience under their belt. And it's always nice to see they've got the Founders Pack as well. So really happy to see that. Great paint job as well, by the way. I love that the paint jobs show up in these screens. It really makes me want to finish this Extilior. It's been sat on the sort of the back burners for about 5 weeks. Probably longer, actually. Probably a couple of months. So, with an Astra coming up, there's so many scary things they can do. So, the best thing I'm going to do is just to move up. I'm going to deploy Detonia this side, probably. I feel like she's got enough movement here to not worry about it. And we're going to pop Aria over here and just start trying to churn out some points and force them to come to us. Basically, this is a really good setup in my opinion. I know I keep saying this about these 2 units. Detonia applies a lot of pressure, it's very hard to avoid her damage, and Aria can start scoring points on a second objective, and between the 2 of them it makes it very difficult for your opponent to not have to come and deal with you. Because we've got an Extilior here who's a threat in himself, we've got Detonia here who can threaten half of the map probably, and Aria who can threaten the whole lot as long as she's got line of sight. So I really hope Dino Fuzz is here. Let's just say greetings here. Hopefully this gives them a nudge and they can join us, and we can have a look at playing our game. Maybe they're trying to figure out what to play, because that's one of the things now with so many units. There's a lot more choices, and if they're trying to figure out where they go from here, that's absolutely something that can slow you down. They have only got 30 seconds though, so if this slows down too much, our opponent's going to run out of time, and then we'll be looking at just a non-game, and we'll have to start queuing up again for another one. Okay, they're highlighting them. Okay, this is good. This is what we wanted to see. Hopefully they deploy something. Okay, that could be hit and run. Yeah, that's hit and run there. There we go. And what's this going to be? Scattervine. Can they grow it in time? And okay, they moved away in time. That's good for them. So here there's a good chance we can actually just finish off these Scattervines, which I think is probably what we need to do. So Detonia's explosive doesn't quite hit both, I don't believe. No, not quite. So rather than take any risks, we are just going to take the shots that we can get. This is minus 16, so this 50-50. Okay, there we go, perfect. And we're just going to kill that off. Now, we can move up here. I think this is reasonable because we just want to be applying pressure here. So what do we want to do that with? I think, honestly, Axl Pyro could be a really good choice here. And this way we get to save a leadership for next turn, gives us access to 4-drops, or again playing like Scattervine and Tantun, and save up for a future turn as well. So we have got 1 point going to them, but we've got 1 already because they did steal that one from us. But we've got a lot of pressure. So if they don't do anything, my plan is going to be to start using Aria to chip down hit and run, which is pretty reasonable if you ask me, but almost anything they play here has got a lot of damage coming its way. We can deal 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 damage in this area. Also, that's impressive that they hit as well. Okay, yep, they can place a Cinder Sphere. Oh wow, they're just going for something big. Okay.
How about a grenade?
Honestly here, Detonia only does 2 for hers, whereas this does 3, so let's just flame these and go back into hiding. We'll bring Extilior up here, and we're just going to start hitting their captain down.
They always go for the captain.
Yes, we do go for the captain. Now, how far is hit and run's range? Okay, so quite far.
No more happy hours.
I think what we actually need to do here is just try and just stay safe, maybe, and just try and take this shot. Okay, that missed, that's fine, but we want to move back here. And honestly, we need to figure out what our follow-up plan is going to be here. And it might even just be Turncoat. So how far does that move? Only over to there. And Turncoat having 6 health, I think we can play a Turncoat here and nearly guarantee that we're going to be able to keep it safe. Everything else can just stay where it is, maybe just move slightly. In fact, we want to stay forwards. This is where we want to be. I'm trying to think, we want to be sort of staging aggressively so that we can keep running towards them, applying pressure on them if we need to, trying to stop their hit and run doing anything, because that's the thing, if you deploy hit and run with ambush over Aria, hit and run can only come out so far. So the reason I put Turncoat here is what I want to be able to do is basically set it so that hit and run can come here, refresh, jump onto Turncoat if they want to, but depending on what they play, we might be able to protect it. See, here they're having to stop us scoring points, but if they're doing that, they're not going to be stopping us dealing damage. So this looks like it's going to be the opportunity for us to just start chipping away at Astra still, and then turncoating whatever they play on top of that. And I'm absolutely happy to do so. So I'm hoping this isn't something with a huge amount of damage, but if it's a melee unit... Okay, this is their own Turncoat, so we're actually completely safe here. There is nothing we need to worry about. We've got enough damage to deal with anything that they've got. Yeah, so they're staging for next turn. They're going to come for our Turncoat. But that doesn't matter anymore, because we can just move down here.
What are you thinking?
Take theirs.
Life gives you lemons.
We can just get these spins going. Make sure we're using up all their Cinder resource. So I'm going to move this way in case they run in this direction. Keep Extilior in range. This puts as much damage out as possible. But we still want to stay behind this. And then Aria doesn't have a good shot particularly. So maybe we've blocked our own line of sight here. Let's just move Detonia out the way. See if there's a slightly better one. This looks better here. A bit more damage. Perfect. And I think here we do just... There we go. So we again had the situation where we're going to steal their unit. We had the control on the board. We had control of the points. And this Aria Detonia start has worked out really, really well for us so far. I think it's a really great start. It helps you control the board. It helps you put pressure where you need it. And again, in that game, if our opponent had Aria rather than hit and run, they could have actually been using that Cinder to poke towards our units. We'd have had to play a lot more defensively. And it would have actually changed how things sort of function from that point forwards. Again, the Scattervine play early on, we did get slightly lucky hitting with our Aria on it, but it wasn't, overly unlikely. And then the fact we could have Axl Pyro to follow it up meant that it was probably going to start killing off Scattervines next turn anyway. So all in all, another great game. I want to say thank you so much to our opponent Dino Fuzz. Let's have a quick look at their list, see what they're running. Oh, that's a really pretty switchback. Can we look at it? No. I was hoping to be able to look at the paint job there. Wow, they've done some awesome paint jobs. That Scattervine looks amazing. Quetzali looks great. Nectarine looks good as well. Yeah, well done Dinophos for all your paint jobs there, but honestly, cracking game. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it too. If you have, please go hit that subscribe button down below or head over to the Patreon in the link in the description and just go and support us over there. It's the best thing you can do for the channel. But if you want to, just drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. It really does mean a lot. And most importantly, thanks for watching and have a good day.